Welcome to the Vertical MRO Alerts, brought to you by Bell. Here's a quick look at notable service directives recently released from Bell Aircraft.
All right, good day, everybody, and welcome to the MRO Alerts podcast presented by Bell. My name is Marc Dubé. I'm the Product Support Engineering Manager for Bell. I'm here today with Mike Vautour. Mike is one of the Product Support Engineering lead for Bell. Today, subject on the 505, we're here to discuss a recent ASB that was released regarding the movable ballast kit, more specifically the aft ballast box assembly. So maybe let's start, Mike, just with why did we release an ASB regarding the movable ballast kit?
We were already working on a project because of some reports that we had of the door assembly on the aft ballast box, that the hinge had some plastic deformation of the hinge. And we also had some concerns about the rivets holding the latch assembly of the door as well, too. So it mainly focuses all around the door assembly of the box.
So basically, what does the ASB require? So what does the customer have to do immediately?
So the initial release of the ASB that we did was to restrict operators from using weights within the ballast box assembly. So upon receiving the ASB, you were to remove any of the weights that were in there. And obviously, that's problematic for some of our operators because they're dependent on those weights and quick reconfiguration of ballasting depending on their flight operations for the day and stuff like that.
So, and their mission,
But we needed to do this within a very short time span to be able to address the safety of flight concerns as quickly as we could.
Okay. Technically, what could happen regarding the box and everything?
So if there was a failure of the hinge assembly, it could allow the door to open and allow weights to fall out of the box and strike the tail rotor assembly. Obviously, that's not going to be a very good scenario because those are tungsten weights and the weights vary between 5 and 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And obviously a strike on a tail rotor blade assembly would cause a lot of vibrations and possibly even loss of control of thrust of the aircraft. So that's why it's very important for us to get this out as soon as we could.
It did get out quite soon after.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Are we aware if any aviation regulatories or authorities have taken action?
Yeah. So when we released our ASB, the Transport Canada Civil Aviation Authority published the next day an emergency AD to also restrict use of weights within the aft ballast box. FAA also followed suit the same week with their own emergency AD. And this is all in interim while we find a solution to allow the ballast boxes to be used back again with our operators. Most of the world is all aware of it. EASA has done some similar publications on their sites and things like that. So.
All right. So authorities have released their documents on their side, obviously. We kind of touched a little bit on it earlier, but as an operator, we said they need the flexibility, I guess, to move ballast from the aft position to the forward position constantly, changing their configuration, obviously, depending on the mission that they're doing. What is Bell doing to address this and get the operators back to being able to use the aft movable ballast box associated weights? So,
firstly, to help our operators understand, this doesn't affect the whole fleet of the 505s.
No.
We've sold a little over 100 of these movable ballast kits, which is about 20% of our fleet because we delivered over 600 aircraft now.
Yep.
So it is limited to certain types of operations where customers are having to do frequent adjustments depending on their fuel ballasting, their number of passengers within an aircraft, whether they're going from 2 passengers to 4 passengers, 5 passengers. It just helps them in being more expedient and being able to do those adjustments versus having fixed ballast that can be adjusted also.
But would
it's just
that
more
would
convenient.
require more maintenance action on that side?
Yeah, exactly. So following the release of the ASB, we are working on a design change to address the immediate safety of flight concern.
Yep.
What this will be is going to be a revision to the Alert Service Bulletin, and we're going to be introducing a 2-inch hinge assembly instead of the 1.5 that we have now, because there's 2 different configurations that can be problematic. We've got 2 full knuckles in the middle and 2 smaller half knuckles on the extremities.
Yep.
But there's also been some hinges manufactured with 3 knuckles. So that is part of the problem that we're trying to address, because there's not only the pin engagement within knuckles that's problematic, but also the elastic deformation that can cause stress cracking in the hinge. So with this new design implementation, that'll address the safety of flight issue and get customers back using their aft ballast boxes.
All right. Good point. Thanks, Mike. And since we're talking about the aft one, what about the forward movable ballast kit? Is that one affected by this ASB?
Although the designs are similar for the door hinges, the internal ballast box isn't a safety of flight concern, because obviously, even if a weight was to depart from the box, it will still stay within the cabin assembly. It's really the aft ballast box that's a safety of flight concern for us at this point.
Talking back about the aft ballast box assembly, some customers have reported, I guess, they noted a lot of play in the door hinge. Is that normal? Is that a concern?
The play is normal, just because of the design of the hinge itself.
Okay.
It's a very thin, small hinge. So there are some play that we've seen. The play itself isn't a concern. Like I had mentioned before, the biggest concern is the pin engagement within the knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually seen some where there's only engagement within the middle knuckles and not on the extremities. So that is part of the issues that we're also addressing in our manufacturing process of the hinge. The new hinge that's being designed is going to become a Bell part number instead of a standard MS part number. And by that, we're going to be able to control the manufacturing of the parts themselves. So that'll give us some more confidence in the parts that we're going to be releasing out in the field on the future ASB revision.
All right. That's very good. Yeah, manufacturing our own parts, it just helps with the quality control side.
Absolutely.
Of the components.
For sure.
When will the solution be available for operators to return and to be able to basically use their aft ballast box and the weights?
So we're already working on the revision to the ASB. We do have parts manufactured and ready to support the fleet. Once we complete our internal review and approval through our signature cycles internal to Bell,
yep,
we do have to submit it to Transport Canada Civil Aviation for approval, because there is an AD against the ASB.
Yeah.
Once they've completed their review, they're going to be providing us our statement of conformity for the ASB, and that will allow us to publish it. Now, because of factors that are beyond our control, we don't exactly know a specific date of when we're going to be able to release the ASB revision. But Transport Canada does know this is a very high priority for our operators and get us back into a configurable situation with the ballasting of the aircraft. So they're well aware and going to be working diligently to expedite the approval process internal to themselves as well.
All right. So as soon as we get the feedback, that's when we'll be able to actually release our revision to the ASB with the solution.
Yeah, correct. And Transport and the FAA will be following with a revision to their ADs as well.
Yeah, with additional instructions and stuff.
Yes, correct.
Perfect. What about the warranty? Will there be any warranty compensation apply to the future solution?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to be covering the parts. There is the hinge and 6 rivets that are going to be provided.
Okay.
Operators or owners are going to be required to submit a warranty claim through our mybell.com portal.
Yep.
So we'll provide the parts, and we're going to be covering labor associated to the replacement as well too. So yes, Bell is stepping up and providing all of that for operators.
So again, any operators obviously that have the kit installed will be eligible for warranty. So that's
yes,
good.
correct.
Will the Bell solution be the final change that will need to be implemented?
Again, this is a change that's just to address the safety of flight concern. Getting a solution out there for the operator to be able to use the Alex box again. But no, it's not the end solution that we're working on. We are going to be doing a redesign of the ballast boxes. Don't know what that solution is yet, but there's several solutions that are on the table that are being discussed. But there will be more changes coming.
We don't know yet. We don't know exactly what it's going to be a couple of months before we get to that new solution. But yeah, a good point that we have something that's going to come other than only the change of the hinge.
No, exactly. It's going to be more of a product improvement to the design.
Yeah.
So we may only be introducing it in future kit designs and not mandating it backwards on the existing kits that have been delivered. So it'll be an option if somebody wants to go to it, that they'll be able to upgrade to that new configuration. But at this point, it's not going to be something that's mandated.
Okay. All right. That summarized that ASB pretty good. So again, it's an ASB affecting the movable ballast kit. More specifically, the aft ballast box can no longer be used until we revise the ASB and the modifications are done. There are affected EDs from Transport Canada and from the FAA. So stay tuned. Be sure that you subscribe to our ASB feedback and our service directive feedback that you can reach from either our Bell technical publication or bellcustomer.com website. That's going to be your trigger to see the revision from the ASB. Once it's out, make sure that you comply with it, and you'll be able to return your kit back to service and use your aft ballast box. So that being said, thanks a lot. Thanks, Mike, for discussing this subject with me, and keep flying Bell.
This has been a Vertical MRO Alert brought to you by Bell. As always, please make sure to look at the service directive for complete information.